Welcome to the Veranda Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Christine Mills. On the Veranda Entrepreneur Podcast, I feature entrepreneurs while I discuss ways you can grow your business today. Step onto the veranda, get a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's talk shop. Let's do this. Welcome to the Veranda Entrepreneur Podcast. Today I have the pleasure of having Monet Hambrick of The Traveling Child stop by the veranda to discuss the business of travel. Monet is the founder of The Traveling Child, a travel expert and content creator. In addition to curating content on her website and social media, which you guys really have to check out, it's beautiful social media, she also freelance writes for publications such as Essence.com and The Point Sky. She's also the author of The Traveling Child Goes to Rio de Janeiro. Welcome to the veranda, Monet.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're here. Before we begin, I actually was doing some research. I realized we have a lot in common. You grew up in South Florida like myself, and my family's from St. Elizabeth as well, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, give us the Monet Hambrick 411.
Well, yeah, as you said, I grew up in South Florida. I was actually born in New York to two Jamaican-born parents from St. Elizabeth. My parents moved down here when I was about 4. So I grew up here. Then I went to college at the University of Florida where I met my husband. Lived in D.C., going to school at Georgetown. Then lived in California for 3 years, moved back to New York. Both of my girls were born, who are now 4 and 6, Jordan and Eddie. And then we relocated back to South Florida after the youngest was born. So now here we are.
Wow, that sounds really good. I mean, how did you like growing up in South Florida?
I really liked it. I would say I did like it, but I guess, when you grow up somewhere, you think that it's not the best place.
Yeah.
But as you see, I've come back. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So I liked it. I mean, being so close to the beach, really it being warm year round, was really great. And there's so many things to do down here within the state as well. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I grew up in South Florida. I was actually born in Jamaica, but I came here when I was like 7 months, and I was like, I need to go up north. And then I lived in Connecticut and New York for like 15 years in total. And I came back, and I'm like, this is great. Like, I have mangoes in my backyard. It's really good. It's a nice place to live.
Yes, especially with kids. Having, New York is great, but it gets old with young kids very quickly.
Yeah, it does. It does. So what were you like when you were growing up? Were you very curious, outgoing? Yeah,
so I'm very athletic. So I played a lot of sports growing up. I was definitely a tomboy. So playing flag football in high school, soccer, softball, volleyball, ran track. Literally anything that you could think of, I was playing it. And then I was also into music, so I grew up playing the piano.
Nice.
Yeah, I stopped, which, of course, now as an adult I regret, but back then my piano lessons in high school were on Friday night at 8 p.m., so that was not what was up. But now I regret I regret having stopped taking them, but that was pretty much me growing up. And I did love to travel when I was younger as well. I did a study abroad program actually in high school where I went to Botswana for 5 weeks, which was absolutely amazing, and I would probably say really painted my love for travel.
Wow. Well, that must have been a great. How long were you there for when you did your study abroad program?
Yes, I was for 5 weeks. It was over the summer from sophomore year going into my junior year in high school.
Okay. Oh, nice. In high school?
Yeah. Yes, in high school. So I was in this program called Women of Tomorrow, and they worked with this company, Experiment in International Living, which offers summer programs for high school students to basically study abroad in high school. And I interviewed for the scholarship they were offering, and I ended up winning. So it was a fully expense paid trip to Botswana for 4 weeks. I stayed with the host family for 2 of those weeks, went camping in the Blanc Delta, really with waking up to baboons right in front of my tent and all sorts of crazy adventures. And we did Habitat for Humanity and a few other things too. So definitely something that stuck with me forever and one of the amazing experiences I've ever had.
That sounds amazing. What country was that? I didn't catch it. You said Botswana?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Botswana. Nice.
It
borders South Africa, yeah.
Oh, wow. Kudos to your parents for allowing you to go during high school, too. I mean, some parents want to do that, but, I mean, it's charted your course for the rest of your life. I mean, that's great exposure.
No, definitely. I 100% agree. I always say I'm so thankful they let me go because I was 16 years old. That was long before we had things like FaceTime and Skype, so there wasn't that technology. I remember being on the phone with my parents, the middle of the night, so it would correlate with their time being on a calling card. You're from Jamaica. I was using a phone card to call them, standing outside. So I'm very thankful they let me go. I know it was hard. Now me, especially being a mom, it's would I let my 16-year-old go somewhere, so far with people that I do not know at all for such a long time. So I'm thankful they let me do that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I hear Botswana is beautiful.
It is stunning. It is so gorgeous.
Yeah. So you went to UF. My sister went to University of Florida too. My other sister went to FSU, and they always have this rivalry going on. But
yes.
And then you went to Georgetown, and you did some study abroad while you were in high school. But how did you transition from blogging, or how did you start blogging? And then after that, how did you create a business out of blogging?
Yeah, so if it's up to me, I would have never been in the position I am now because my friend was the one that recommended me starting an Instagram and eventually my blog, and honestly, I told her it was a dumb idea. So she came over one day. We were about to go to Colombia. I was on maternity leave with her. She was going to be 10 weeks old during our trip, and seeing me travel with Jordan previously while I was pregnant with Kennedy and going places with them, and she's I think it's so powerful what you're doing because there's so many parents or future parents or especially single women that keep hearing the same song of, oh, travel now while you can because once you have a family you won't be able to do that, and she's but here you are doing it, you've been doing it. When I was 16 weeks pregnant with Kennedy and Jordan was 15 months, to Italy and Greece for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I carried Jordan on my back carrier for the entire time because homegirl refused that anyone else that was on the trip hold her. So she was just I've seen you doing this. You should be sharing this. And I viewed it honestly, at first oh, people are going to be oh, you're just trying to show off. Oh, look at me, going all these places. And she was no, there's just so many women I think that need to see that because representation in so many facets is important, and when they don't see people do, parents doing that, they really think that they can't. So I gave in to her and I started it, and now I'm so thankful that I did because I didn't even know you could make money from blogging at first. I was just I'm just sharing my tips with parents, make it easier for them to travel with their kids and avoid the mistakes that my husband and I had made at first. And then I would say about maybe 7 months in, I read some article on this blogger's income report that had come up on my Google search for something else, and I wait, what? People make money from this? What do you? I don't make any money from this. But then eventually didn't change anything I was doing, but I feel just the passion that I have for what I do ended up just bringing more people to my page and to my blog, and with that, it just attracted sponsors that wanted to work with me, but then also me doing the research to really discover the multiple ways that I could make income for it, and then streamlining what was a hobby into an actual business for me to be able to monetize and make money from it.
Wow. So you were traveling way before you started blogging, like before you even had kids. You were just that was just
Yes.
part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that for you? Like, because were you traveling throughout college, or did you start when you were when you started working?
Yeah, so I mean, being Jamaican, I feel like I had my passport as since I was born because my parents were like, "Oh, we have to go back to Jamaica," you know, it's like, "Oh, you have
Yeah.
to visit your family," like, so it was like I was traveling internationally, mainly to Jamaica. I would say from the time I was born until like elementary school, you know, and then my
Yeah.
parents loved to travel too. So even though back then, like, they couldn't afford to go on like the extravagant trips that like me and my family now, back then, because they weren't aware of, you know, like there wasn't like points and miles and all the things that we have now where
Right.
travel is
Right.
more affordable than it was back then. But I have so many pictures of my parents with me in the car doing road trips with my family. You know, Jamaican,
Yeah.
so I have 17 aunts and uncles,
Yeah.
including spouses. Both of my, and literally my parents would drive us, like, since we were in New York, we would go to like Boston and Maryland, all these places, and that was before like car seats were invented. So I would had their literature was sitting on mom's lap, like in the back seat with two of her, you know, like siblings on either side of her, and my dad driving, and us going all these places. But then I said, like, I got that scholarship in school, so I did that. And then my parents also took my brother and I the next summer to England and France for during summer break. And then when I was in, I worked my senior, well, pretty much the entire time I was in high school, I had a job. But my senior year, I worked full time, and I saved this. And as a graduate gift to myself, I went to Germany for a month. My dad was stationed in the army there, and he has friends there. And me and my cousin went and then they took us all around Germany. And she's from England, so we also went to England, hung out there. And then when I was in college, my now husband, we were boyfriend and girlfriend then, but we also studied abroad in China. So I would really say that travel has been a part of my life forever.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And so when you started your blog, what year was that?
2016.
2016. And when did you transition it from being a hobby to a business?
So I would say around year 2 is like, I guess technically like my third, like end of year 2, start of year 3 was when I like got my LLC and did that. And then it was about a year after that I was able to transition from doing it as moving hot to like a part-time side hustle where I was making money but not a full-time income, to then deciding in October 2018 quit my job and pursue this full-time, and now I've been doing it full-time since then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So for those of us who are listening and they're like, okay, well, I've been blogging and people have been blogging, what's the first step to make it, instead of being a hobby, but being a business? What would you say is the first step? I know you said you made an LLC, but how do they start getting customers to start advertisement and so forth?
So one, I would say there's so many different ways to monetize if you don't have brands. Brands are a great way to monetize because, they're paying. But also other ways. So I would say before you even, because you can make money without brands. And sometimes brands only want to work with people because they have these strenuous requirements, and they look at followers, even though that's not the most important things, because we all know there are people that have like hundreds of thousands of followers but no engagement. But They seem to still pick those people anyway. But you can monetize from like affiliate income and ad revenue. So if you have your own website, you can make money in your sleep. Passive income to me is the most important income because you don't need anybody else's income. So monetizing from ads is great, and that's just based on the traffic that you get to your website. Then there's affiliate marketing, so you can actually make money based on recommending products you love and use all the time. A lot of companies have affiliate partners, and they have the affiliate program either directly through them or there are specific like affiliate partner websites that you can look up on Google. Very easy to find them. And then you can sign up for their affiliate program so you can make money like that. So that was kind of the first thing that I did because I wasn't at the point when I started, this where I really took it, looking at it as a business. I wasn't at the point where brands necessarily work with me. So finding ways to make money on my own. But I would say even before then, making it into a business is about the seriousness that you take it. So you have to move from treating it like a hobby to treating it like a business. That means giving it dedicated time, like really putting in the effort into learning the back end. So for me, I didn't understand a lot of things. So even when I started my website, it was on Weebly because I never knew about monetizing a blog, and that wasn't really my intention. And once I learned that, it's like, okay, what are the professionals in this industry using? Oh, they're using WordPress. Okay, I need to get on WordPress. I need to learn WordPress. I need to have a better design for my website. I don't know how you are, but I'm kind of like, even say if I'm looking for a tour, right? And I'm going on companies' websites. There are certain companies that you just look at their website and it just seems more professional than another one. And I'm the type of person that sometimes that first impression means a lot to me. So I'm like,
right.
Oh, well, their website is nice there. At the end of the day, they might end up having a worse service than the other person, but you're just, oh, well, they put so much effort into this. This means
right.
that they take it serious or something like that, So I would say even like little things like that, for me, it was learning those types of things, like deciding that, okay, I want to make money from this. That means I also put money into here. So me deciding to pay for a website instead of figuring it out myself because I just knew that it would come out better and it would cost me less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess little things like that at first, but then with like working with brands, when you're first starting to work with brands, in my experience, you're going to be doing a lot of pitching. So learning how to pitch if you're not familiar with taking a course, or a class on really how to craft those emails, and understand at first you're going to get a lot of rejection because even to this day I have people that say no all the time. Like for every like 20 no's, that's when you'll get a yes. So really just keep pushing and not getting not becoming less motivated just because someone's saying no to you at first.
All that was really good advice. I've also heard people say that you have to make sure that you have a certain number of followers. Do you think that's necessary before you start pitching to clients?
I really don't, because I think that's why I think it's more, for me, I think it's more about your engagement. Like, unfortunately, there are some companies that are only focused on numbers. 100%. At the end of the day, I also think there are so many companies that are more so focused on the community that you've built and understand. Say, especially if you have a specific niche, like for me, it's family travel. So if they know that my audience are parents that are interested in traveling with their kids. So while, a lot of people say I don't have a lot of followers in comparison to other people, that do the same thing. I mean, you look at the Bucket List family, they have like 2.4 million followers, So, but they may say like, okay, say I do family travel and there's someone else that does just general travel.
Right.
So they may have twice as many followers as me, right? But if this is a company that is a product or a service that is specific family travel, I'd still be more appealing to them than the person with more followers because they know that my followers are actually looking for family travel advice, whereas a general travel blogger, maybe only 10% of their audience is family. So that percent is still way less than the amount I have. So I think it's more so being focused on the audience that you have in your community and what you can offer the brand, because when I got first paid gig, I think I had like 3,500 followers. Not that many in the grand scheme of things, but it was a company that was specific to children, and they saw the engagement on with my community, even though it was small, they saw how many people were commenting and liking and like looking at the comments and reading what people were saying. That is a lot of times more beneficial than big numbers when people aren't engaged in the content that the person's producing. So I would say though that typically the lower amount of followers that you have, it might be harder to get paid at first. You may have to do a lot of trade, where you're getting product exchange of that, but it's also time for you to build the relationship with the brand, especially if you've never worked with a brand before and you don't have any examples of ROI that you've produced. You may have to start there. There's some people that disagree with that and don't think you should ever work for free at all, but I personally do think there is a time to do that, especially if you've never worked with a brand before.
Okay. I mean, very good advice. So if you're just starting out, perhaps just approaching them and say, hey, I love, because I saw that you did a post on the baby carrier. And if you don't have followers, maybe you might just say, what would you say in that situation? Would you approach them and say, hey, I love to just feature your baby carrier? And, how would that go? What would that look like?
Yeah. So in your pitches should always be action. And I also feel like when you're pitching, especially, it should be a product that you already use and love. So for me, when I remember it wasn't Ergo Baby, although I absolutely love Baby, I was promoting them long before I ever worked with them monetarily. But another example I like is I worked with Michigan previously. They have a car seat transporter, and we use it all the time when we're traveling and bringing the girls car seats. So when I first wanted to work with them, I reached out to them and I let them know that I absolutely loved their car seat transporter and I wanted to work with them in terms of a giveaway for my audience, because I felt as if that would be a little bit more mutually beneficial.
Right.
While I wasn't getting paid, with growing my audience, giveaways a lot of times help grow your audience. So I reached out to them on that front, and I was like, hey, I love your product. I use it all the time. I've used it before. I've posted about it before, and giving them the link to where I posted it and said, I would love if you would be able to provide 2 of them for me to give away to my audience. And they were like, oh, my gosh, yes, we just looked at the posts that you made. We love them. We would, to work with you on this. So that first one was free. I didn't get paid for that at all. And then that, I kept in contact with them. They loved the way that the first giveaway went. And then I was able to continuously work with them and then was getting paid for it. So when you're starting out, I would say you have more to prove. And it's okay to maybe barter at first and not look as down on it as maybe when you get bigger, where you're like, okay, no, I didn't do anything for free. But that was how I reached out to them, and I would say the best find contact information is on LinkedIn. That's actually how I connected with the person. I found the social media person on LinkedIn and sent a message, and that's how I was able to contact her.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. You are really growing an amazing business, and I love your Instagram posts. I mean, they're just beautiful pictures. While I was preparing for the interview, I wanted to go on all your trips. So you're doing a really good job with storytelling. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about your travel, because, I mean, you've been everywhere. So let's talk about your travel deals. You were talking about that. You get a lot of good deals and Skyscanner and a lot of different sites. So what sites do you use to get travel deals?
Yeah, so the main sites we use is theflatdeal.com, Secret Flying, and Skyscanner. Okay.
And are there any particular deals that you've received that you're like, man, this was like the best deal ever?
Yes, we went to Amsterdam, Miami for $200 round on Delta.
Okay.
And then I went to Australia from to Sydney, and that was for $560 round trip, which to go to Australia is like insane because most times that flight is like $1,800 to $2,000.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was during their spring season, so like beautiful weather, like just perfect. Yeah.
That is amazing. Any particular people about planning your trips? Because I like your quote, if kids live there, you can go there. I think that's so important because a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know if it's safe. I should bring my children with me. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. Anything in particular that you look for when you're planning your trip?
Yeah, not really. As I said, like our motto is really, if kids live there, kids can visit, of course, unless it's a war-stricken place. But like if kids live there, there are literally things for kids to do. Personally, for us, we like to incorporate like the kids, the things that they're passionate about into our trips. So for us, the girls love dancing and they love cooking. So pretty much every trip that we go on, we take a cooking class, which is great because we learn about the culture of the city or country that we're visiting and the types of foods that they eat while having a great time, and the kids like really enjoy that. And then we normally also do a dance class. So when we were in Rio, we took some lessons. When we were in Cuba, we took salsa lessons, and the girls are having so much fun, but we're also all still learning about, the community's culture with doing that. So picking little activities like that all of us are going to have fun, but they're really going to enjoy. And then with those activities that they'll really enjoy, sometimes they have to deal with activities they don't enjoy as much.
And I think that says a lot because I think sometimes we could be in a safe space where we think that only our backyard is safe with our children. And, your travels say otherwise. You've been to Morocco, you've been to Rio, you've been to so many other places internationally, and it shows that it is safe to take your kids in places that you might be a little bit uncomfortable at first.
Yeah, we are true to that. If kids live there, kids can visit because, of course, unless it's like a war-stricken, country or city, if there are kids there are things for them to do. And the parents that live there, have things for them. So we love taking our kids every and anywhere. As you said, you'll often find us taking them to places that most don't consider kid-friendly. It's really so we can immerse them into these cultures and communities and for them to really see what the world is about.
Yeah, so Monet, you're, other than traveling, you've also started this really great book series called The Traveling Child, and your first book is The Traveling Child Goes to Rio de Janeiro. So tell us a bit about the book and the series.
Yeah, so the book is based on our travel. So I really just wanted to bring diversity to children's books, especially within travel, because unfortunately, if you type in, family travel on Google Images, you don't see families that look like, mine.
No.
So I just really wanted children of color specifically to see themselves traveling the world, to know that it's possible and they can go anywhere, but also for non-children of color to see other children doing this and knowing that it's normal. Because I always find, when I'm talking to strangers, typically white people, about travel, when, I let them know the places I've been, always so shocked. And they're like, oh, are you in the military, or do you travel for it's like it has to be some reason other, like I can't just be a tourist like regular people, So like just really normalizing Black travel and showing that we do it, and just providing an opportunity for diversity in that space, because there isn't that much, diversity in travel. So that was really my point, and I just plan on continuing to make other books on different destinations that we have traveled to, and they're written from my daughter's perspective. So really showing, their favorite parts of the trips, and, things as kids, like in the book on Rio, we went to the botanical gardens and, realizing that maybe that might not be as interesting to kids, but finding out that they loved it so much and they found it so entertaining. So yeah, that's really the point of the book. And I've loved the feedback that we got so much, especially from families, and they're like, oh my God, the first thing my child said was, Mommy, look, they look just like me, parents like mine. That, and like that means so much, because it's like these kids recognize these things, and if they're recognizing that, that means that unfortunately a lot of the other books that they're reading in school and stuff don't have that same representation. So
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I'm excited. And we could purchase it at Amazon. So, like, all of you who are listening, check it out. That's a great way to start traveling, is to read the book and read it to your kids, and you could start learning about the different places, so they could get excited about going as you plan your trips. That's really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And, this is a big elephant in the room with all what's going on. How has the pandemic impacted your travel plans?
How has it not? Oh gosh, we've had so many trips that are canceled, and we were supposed to go to Egypt for spring break. I'm still very sad about that. This epic 2-week adventure that was crossing off every bucket list item I've ever had in Egypt. And then we were also supposed to have just been coming back from a trip to Japan and Vietnam for summer. So I am very sad, because we have not gone anywhere since March. And that's not normal. Like even just going to like Orlando or some, just doing like something, and very sad because we haven't been able to do anything.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's when you do more local things in South Florida. But even then it's changed. We try to take the kids to Jungle Island, and they won't let the parrots come on your arms because of COVID. So, you might think that things are the same, but even then it's still not.
Yeah, like we haven't done anything, like not anything local at all. Like we went to the beach one day, and we went at like 6:30 p.m. because we wanted to avoid people. That's literally the only thing that we've done.
Yeah. Oh. Well, hopefully all that will change. Hopefully next year. Hopefully that we can travel again.
Yes.
So how can listeners learn more about your company, and also what's next for the Traveling Child?
Yeah. So we're on Instagram at The Traveling Child, and our website is thetravelingchild.co. For entrepreneurs, I actually do offer consulting sessions on how to grow your business and more details on how to work with brands and what's next. I'm not sure. I would love to take my book series to another level and do like a cartoon animation. That would be something I would love to do. Make a YouTube series, hopefully eventually to be on TV. Let me, go ahead and manifest. But that would be what my ultimate goal would be, to grow that series and make it into something that kids could watch as well. Yeah.
When you were talking about it, that's what it was, like a cartoon. And, I think that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Well, now we're going into the next segment, interview, and it's just a way for people to get to know you, Monet. And so the first question is, and this is a question you appreciate being from South Florida, what is your favorite mango?
Julie mango.
Oh, that's my favorite too. All right, your favorite vacation spot? I know that's hard.
Oh, it's so hard. I'll just say Kenya.
Kenya, okay. Where do you want your next trip to be?
Egypt. I would like to get that trip back.
Yeah. Your favorite dessert?
Ooh, apple pie.
Apple pie, all American. Favorite type of music?
Oh, reggae and soca.
Yeah. You did a really good segment on the carnival. I learned a lot. I was like, wow, I didn't know that.
Listen, when I tell you, I'm still so mad. I was supposed to go to Jamaica Carnival too. So I'm just like over here just in my feelings.
Oh man. And the funny thing is
Yeah.
like people had big trips this year. Like, just people at work, they're talking about they're going to go to Argentina. They're going to do this was a year where a lot of people were traveling.
Yes. All canceled.
Yeah. What is the most surprising aspect of travel?
I guess how quickly you adapt. I mean, for me, that's what I was on, like how quickly you can adapt to these new situations that you find yourself in.
Yeah. Your favorite business book?
It would be something on SEO. I don't know the exact title, but that helps me a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And the last question is, what is the biggest lesson you learned from entrepreneurship?
Well, things definitely don't always go as planned. But I guess for me, I would honestly say, like, just being bold. I find that, like, every time I'm hesitant about doing something and, like, scared, when I actually do it, it always pays off tenfold. So I would just say be bold. Just be bold in your ideas and in what you put forth and manifest, because with entrepreneurship, I've learned that literally every and anything that you could ever imagine could come true as long as you put the work and effort behind it.
Wow. That's a great way to end this interview. Thank you so much, Monet, for joining me today on the veranda. Again, please be sure to check out Traveling Child. And what's the website again?
It's thetravelingchild.co.
Thank you so much, Monet.
Thank you for having me.